Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today we're changing the battery on this Ford Edge. I also have a video on the previous body style, so check the video description if you need that one. And so we're going to go ahead and pop the hood here by the brake pedal, and we're just going to push the latch over here to lift the hood up. And here's our battery, and it's in there kind of deep, so there's a few things that we want to know. First off, there's a battery tie down right here, so we're going to take our 8mm socket, and it helps to have an extension if you have one. And we're going to go ahead and remove this. So we're just going counterclockwise, lefty-loosey, and taking this out. And so the bolt will come out, and then this little plate will come out too. Now we can slide the battery towards us and get us some more room here. Now we want to remove the ground first and replace it last. So first we're going to take it off, and this top bolt here, that nut is the one that we would use, but I'm going to show you here. We're going to use our 10mm wrench. We're actually going to do this one on the other side that has the actual cable going to it. And so we're taking that nut off, and that way we can lift this out of the way, and we're leaving that whole bracket on there. Just it's easier to get it off once it's out of the car. Now we're taking our 10mm here and going after the positive side. We're just wiggling this off and setting it out of the way. And the battery size is important. The stock battery will slide right out of here. And if you want to, you can remove this cable with this bolt here. That ground can be removed. But we're going to go ahead, now that we have the battery out, now we're loosening this other side. If you can get to that with an open-end wrench, you could probably do that first, but we wanted to just do it this way with the battery out of the car. So he took some needle nose pliers once it was loose and just popped this off. And pay attention to the top. That plastic piece is a little wedge that puts this right at the right angle. On the new battery, we're taking this cover off, but what you'll see is as you put this back on, we're going to remove this piece because it's not the right angle with the new battery. So as you can see, that angle actually makes the cable go into the battery and it doesn't fit. So it's best off to remove that piece and make sure it's lined up straight. So we're going to go ahead and put this one on here. And again, we want to make sure that cable can come through here. So as you tighten that down, just make sure it's not pointed inward like this where it would actually hit the battery. Now for the recommended battery, you can see how much bigger it is than the stock factory battery. So to put this back in, we're going to go ahead and remove this air box a little bit. We're going to just take these two clips off here, and that will loosen this up. And with a 7mm socket, we're going to go ahead and put it right here, and this is going to loosen up this air intake. And so with that loosened up, we can now pop this out of the way, and we can just set this to the side, and that gives us more room to slide that bigger battery down in there. We went ahead and put the new battery in here, and here's where our tie down will go. Just make sure that it's all going to fit. But don't put the tie down in place yet. We want to slide the battery forward still. Okay, and the first one we're going to connect now is the red or the positive side. So make sure you plug that one in first, and make sure you didn't get a reversed polarity battery. Make sure it does show the plus symbol. Some of them are reverse polarity, and you could really fry the whole electronic system. So we're going to take our 10mm here and tighten down our positive side and get it good and tight. And now for the negative, we're going to just take this cable and we're going to go back and put it down onto that stud. So even with the battery sliding forward, it can be kind of hard to get in here. But we're going to go ahead and put this on. And we want to make sure that that cable goes down into the channel on each side. So remember, we had to make sure that we had that pivoted just right so the cable goes through. And you can see here on the left and the right that that battery cable is going down into the channel between this part on the left and this part on the right. So make sure that it's sitting flush. Next, we're taking a 10mm wrench, an open-end one. This would help for removal too, especially if the battery is the bigger one, if you didn't have the factory one. And this way we can get back in under that firewall where it's really tight. Even sliding the battery forward on this one, since it's a bigger battery, the wrench doesn't really fit on there very well, so you do need an open-end wrench like this rather than the socket wrench. So we went ahead and got that all tightened down. And so just make sure all of the connections are good and tight. And then after that, we're going to go after our battery tie down. So we're going to slide the battery forward, and we're just putting this block plate down in here. Just make sure the ledge pointed upward, goes on top of the battery like so, and that's what's going to hold it in place with our 8mm bolt that we just drive back down in place. Now we're just putting our air box back in, and for this one we're going to attach it over here and make sure that that seal is going all the way around it. And then when it comes time to looking at the box, there's actually a hinge. So for the air box here, as you can see, that hinge needs to go underneath down in here. It's kind of hard to show on camera here one-handed, but make sure that the hinge goes under, that the box goes into place, and you don't have any gaskets sticking out. So again, this hinge right here, there's one on the top and the bottom. There's 3 spaces actually throughout that side. You just want to make sure that they all go underneath and into place. And so once they are, then you can just put these tabs back on by lifting them up, and they will pop back into place. And your air box should be nice and firm now. So just go around and check to make sure that these tabs are closed, and just feel around the air box itself and look at it, make sure no gasket's popping out. Then we'll just tighten this back down with our 7mm socket. It also has a provision for you to use a flat or common screwdriver on the tip too, but it's nice to have a little socket wrench on it so that it doesn't strip. So we'll go ahead and tighten this down, make sure everything's good, and start it up. Okay, so this worked out really well. Just go back into the engine bay, make sure everything's tight. The battery tie down is good and in place. Cables are solid and tightened down. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe and check out the video description. I'll put some other links to some videos here. And thanks for watching.